Why we're here as a small group of people is here to expose the crimes of these bastards behind us, the Freemasons. The exposure that needs to be heard by the people of this city of London and the rest of the country, because these lodges exist all around the country, and this is one of the largest ones as we are standing outside it today. And a lot of these Freemasons are involved in abuse and rape of women and children. It's going unnoticed and unchecked. So we come here to expose their asses. We come here to speak the truth that many are too blind and too ignorant to bloody believe, but we have information that you need to hear and we will speak it. So I'm going to give you a little rundown why the judges in the courts are defending police officers done on rape charges and abuse, i.e. Metropolitan Police, and we've spoke outside their building in the last few months. And they were frightened and threatened by us because we exposed their names and the crimes they've committed against women and children, and it's gone unnoticed, as I say. So we're going to read a little bit about these bastards behind us, mind my language, but I'm not going to sugarcoat this shit. I'm going to explain it in the way I know and feel the right way is to do so. So we'll hit it off with a little bit of information if you are listening. If you're not, this will go out on social media and you can hear it for yourselves. The Freemasons and the moral guardians or centre of corruption. Depending on your point of view, Freemasonry is either a gentleman's club devoted to moral and spiritual values or a corrupt organisation intent on looking after number one. One thing is certain, Freemasons would like to stay out of the public eye as much as possible. It is this determination to preserve a shroud of secrecy which arouses suspicion in non-Masons. Even their origins are open to question. Some say the first examples of Masonry date back to the Egyptian pyramid builders, although modern Freemasons can only claim a 300-year history. Bear with me. A lot to speak about these bastards. There are Freemasons all over Europe and North America. Italy in particular is riddled with Masonic lodges, the most famous of which was the corrupt P2 Lodge, and Freemasons have been at loggerheads with the Roman Catholic Church for years. But it is how the membership is made up that worries some quarters. The Freemasons are estimated to have more than 300,000 members in the UK and thousands more abroad. Stories are rife of Masons winning promotion because their boss is a member and accused men standing in the dock giving the judge a sly sign indicating he is a Mason, although evidence of such cases remains flimsy. But Martin Short, author of Inside the Brotherhood, told the Home Affairs Select Committee how two Asian businessmen stumbled on a Masonic dinner at a hotel and were prosecuted on trumped-up charges of assaulting police officers. He said it later became apparent that the police officers were lodge members, as was the investigating officer, a senior official in the Crown Prosecution Service, and the hotel manager. A presumably non-Masonic jury acquitted the businessmen. 2 years ago, the Select Committee said, "We believe that nothing so much undermines public confidence in public institutions as the knowledge that some public servants are members of a secret society, one of whose aims is mutual self-advancement." Masonic rules state that members must do all they can to support each other, to look after each other, and to keep each other's lawful secrets. For those breaking the rules, the penalties are outlined in a bizarre initiation ritual. New members are blindfolded, wearing a hangman's noose, and are warned their throat will be slit, their tongue torn out, and then they will be buried in the sand. Who the fuck are these people? Satanic and demonic, isn't they? Fucking idiots. The rituals are too similar to those of the Cosa Nostra and the Triads. No one believes Masons will carry out the threats, but critics argue the oaths of allegiance could put them at odds with public duty. You don't say. Centuries of secrecy. Since 1717, when 4 London lodges came together to form the Grand Lodge based on concepts of brotherly love, relief and truth, non-members have been suspicious of Freemasonry. But it was only 14 years ago that Masons began courting public acceptance with a leaflet on the positive aspects of their craft. 8 years later, the media were invited to attend a Masonic meeting for the first time. Freemasons argue their organisation is open to any man, regardless of religion or colour, but women are excluded. I wonder why women are excluded, because these same men have been jumped up on charges against women and children, the abuse and rape and torture. That's why women are not involved in the Brotherhood, because these men think they have some form of notoriety and strength above a woman or a feminine. Absolute bullshit, as we are going to speak about these crimes they've committed when I finish with this reading. Freemasons argue their organisation is open to any man, as I just said. They say all that is needed to join is a belief in God, not necessarily the Christian God, and a good reputation.
Bear with me, Pete, you're probably wondering what I'm doing here, but I'm here.
Masonic meeting for the first time. Freemasons argue their organisation is open to any man regardless of the religion, colour, but women are excluded. They say all that is needed, I said this. They insist a Mason who is a judge, for example, could not put in a compromising position because Freemasonry demands members respect the law. Respect the law! So all of a sudden, I'm going to quickly say this, the BBC are now asking for members of Metropolitan Police to show their membership loyalty to this shithole behind us because of the claims that have been made against them for rape charges and abuse of women and children. Freemason literature says the society condemns members who use membership to promote his personal or business interests. The Masons state with destiny. There have always been questions about Masonic involvement in the John Stalker disciplinary hearing, which forced the former Deputy Chief Constable of Great Manchester to abandon his inquiry into an alleged shoot-to-kill policy being operated in Northern Ireland. Freemasonry was also mentioned in relation to the discredited and eventually disbanded West Midlands Serious Crime Squad. So far, the Masons summoned Commander Michael Higham, Grand Secretary of the United Lodge of England, and John Hamill, the Lodge's librarian, have refused to reveal the names of Masons involved in the cases. Dirty, stinking rotters.
There's more to come, don't worry.
In the police and judiciary, this article examines the potential risks linked to Freemason in these roles and underscores the need of transparency and accountability. A significant concern about Freemasons within the police and the judiciary is the risk of biased decision-making. Freemasonry encourages loyalty and mutual support among its members, which can lead to conflicts of interest when members occupy positions in law enforcement or judiciary. For instance, a judge who is a Freemason would likely favour a fellow member compromising their impartiality. So when these cases go to court of a police officer raping a woman or a child, he is then defended by a Freemason judge. Dirty stinker! Police officers who are Freemasons would likely show leniency towards their fellow members. This situation raises serious questions about fairness, particularly in cases involving Masonic members or their associates. The perception of bias alone can damage public trust in these institutions and create doubts about their ability to uphold the law and deliver justice impartially. Bear with me, Freemason bitches, if you're out here today listening to me. I hope you are, you're fucking listening. Lack of transparent accountability. Freemasons' secretive nature creates concerns about transparency in public institutions. Members swear oaths of confidentiality, which can pose challenges when they serve in the police or judiciary. This secrecy can enable unethical practices as effective oversight becomes challenging when Masonic activities remain hidden from view. What are the fuck you hiding from? And what are you hiding? The crimes against women and children, as we know. In the judiciary, secretive bonds between Freemasons could lead to withholding critical information or making decisions without proper scrutiny. Similarly, in the police force, Masonic members might obstruct investigations or manipulate outcomes to protect their own interests or those of their fellow Masons. risk of corruption and nepotism. Freemasons in the police and judiciary also raise the risk of corruption and nepotism. The organisation's emphasis on brotherhood and mutual support can facilitate corrupt practices. Masonic members might help each other secure promotions, cover up misconduct, or influence investigations to benefit their group. A lot of benefit from their group when they're fucking lying to the public and the people of this country what they're involved in. Public confidence in the police and judiciary is crucial for maintaining the rule of law. The presence of Freemasons in institutions can erode the confidence when public suspects that decisions are driven by secret affiliations rather than evidence and fairness. Trust in the institutions declines. This is particularly troubling in democratic societies where public trust is essential for legitimacy of legal and law enforcement bodies. If people believe justice lacks impartiality, they may become less willing to cooperate with law enforcement. They might report fewer crimes and social unrest could increase. The judiciary's role as a check and balance on other branches of government also suffers if its impartiality comes into question due to Masonic ties. To address these risks, some advocates call for more scrutiny and regulation of Freemasonry within the police and judiciary. Proposed transparency measures such as requiring public declarations of Masonic membership aim to reduce these concerns. These steps seek to enhance accountability and ensure equal treatment for all under the law. Well, it isn't, because at the moment the Freemasons won't allow you to know what police officers are involved within the Masonic Lodge and their membership. Now we're going to go on to a little story now, and this one's upsetting if you've got children, grandchildren, because these men are, and they have been involved in crimes against children. And this one specific little case is from a Mason from my little town of Suffolk, and we're going to read him out because he needs to be heard. His name's Alan Wright, from a little place called Little Downham, and you'll hear his story. He's a Freemasonic Lodge member. A 75-year-old man caught in a police internet sting when he tried to meet a child for sex has walked free after a judge decided not to send him straight to prison. Police set up the sting by specialist officers pretending to be a 14-year-old boy online. Alan Wright, a leading figure in Freemasons, was arrested after he arranged to meet the teenager at Bury St Edmunds railway station in November last year, Ipswich Crown Court heard. Wright resigned from his Grandmaster Masons role in December last year before his paedophile offence hit media headlines. Richard Kelly, prosecuting, said that Wright sent the boy pictures of his private parts over the internet and arranged to meet him through the dating app Grindr. What a dirty, stinking, rotten paedophile. However, when Wright, who had brought condoms with him, arrived at Bury Station, he was met by police officers and arrested. Wright of Rye Gardens, Little Downham, Ely, admitted attempting to incite a child to engage in sexual activity and was given a 16-month prison sentence, suspended for 2 years. That should have been a fucking lifetime arrested and put away. He was also ordered to take part in a Thames Valley sex offenders treatment programme and a 40-day rehabilitation activity requirement. He was further ordered to do 80 hours unpaid work in the community and was made the subject of a sexual harm prevention order and ordered to sign the sex offenders register for 10 years. Wright was ordered to pay $1,200 costs and £140 victim surcharge. Wright was a former Grand Master of the Grand Council of Royal and Select Masters and also Grand Master of the Provincial Grand Lodge of Masters Masons of Essex. He resigned irrevocably from Freemasonry with the effect from December the 1st, 2016. Sentencing him, Judge Martin Levitt said Wright had no previous convictions, and while a prison sentence would deal with reducing a short-term risk, You met a young boy online to rape and abuse him. A short time, you had a fucking laugh. To deal with reducing the short-term risk he posed, the TVSOTP would aim to reduce the risk of him re-offending in the future. Once you've offended once, you're going to offend many times over, you fucking nonce. Judge Levitt said Wright had generally believed that the person he was communicating with and was arranging to meet was a real boy and had made sexual references during their exchanges. There was a significant difference in your ages, said the judge. Judge Levitt said Wright had asked the boy if one of his friends wanted to join in, and he said he didn't accept that. Wright wasn't sexually attracted to children. He warned Wright he would go to prison if he breached the suspended sentence order. An NSPCC spokesperson said Wright knew his depraved actions were wrong, but still set about grooming and meeting a boy he thought was just 14 years of age. It was right that he was being given treatment as part of his sentence, which we hope will ensure he is not a risk to children in the future. The NSPCC has campaigned to make it illegal for an adult to send a sexual message to a child, and from today, police now have the power to stop groomers sooner. No, they don't have powers to stop groomers sooner, because the grooming of children and women is still ongoing. The grooming gangs on the streets that are raping and abusing our children are still ongoing. The police officers that are still raping and abusing our women and children is still ongoing. So no police officer will bring this to alert and your attention, because they're all involved in it. Anyone concerned about a child can call the NSPC's helpline, really? And what the fuck are they going to do to defend our children from these fuckers? As part of this investigation, we considered whether there was evidence of Freemasons influencing investigations into sexual abuse of children in Lambeth Council's care. The inquiry received evidence that Donald Hostgaard, who was prosecuted for sexually abusing children in his care at Shirley Oaks, waived the Masonic handbook when he was arrested. Simon Morley accepted that this was clearly done in an attempt to influence the arrested officers. While the records from the time show that, in Morley's words, it held no truck with the arrested officers, it is of concern that Hosgood had the impression that being a Freemason would assist him. The terms of reference for the 1995 report by Elizabeth Appleby, QC, referred to the extent of Freemasonry within Lambeth. Elizabeth Appleby, QC, exchanged correspondence with the Grand Secretary of the Freemasons. She commented in her report, "These bastards are getting away with crimes unnoticed, unchecked, not when we expose their asses." There's another story here, dear, and this is going to be a really uncomfortable one. Another Freemason done on charges of rape and abuse of children. Paedophile who abused a boy before his death, protected by Freemasons. The Shirley Oaks Survivors Association are calling for the Met Police to investigate the case after Commissioner Sir Mark Rowley, that little scumbag rat from Metropolitan Police, demanded secret society cops reveal their membership. That one's in the news at the moment. They're not revealing their membership because it's secret society, dirty nonsense. A children's home worker who raped a 15-year-old boy, later found hanged, was prosecuted by fellow Freemasons in the justice system, a survivors campaign has claimed. The youngster was found dead in a bathroom of the notorious Shirley Oaks Children's Home in Croydon in 1977. 2 years after the man he had accused of abuse walked free. Donald Hostgood, a confirmed Freemason, went on trial in 1975. For 11 accounts of rape and indecent assault involving 4 children, but the case collapsed. See how it works? It collapsed. They defended this fucking nonce. Further allegations of sexual abuse were made against Hostgood in 1998 to the Operations Middleton inquiry in Lambeth, South London, but officers falsely claimed he had died. He finally passed away in 2011 without facing justice. Does this remind you of anyone? The Jimmy Savile scandal, where he died without being put away, without having a noose wrapped round his neck, swinging from the Thames River Bridge. He should have swung, should have had his head taken off. He was a nonce. A convicted paedophile. But he got away with it, just like this scumrat did here too. Now the Shirley Oaks Survivors Association are calling for the Met Police to investigate the case after Commissioner Sir Mark Rowley demanded secret society cops reveal their membership. Sir Mark spoke out after the discovery that 3 of the Met Police officers arrested on suspicion of covering up a sex assault are Freemasons. Masonic links between a detective sergeant accused of molesting a female colleague and 2 other cops alleged to have suppressed the case are being investigated. I won't go no further. SOSA founder Raymond Stevenson, who was a friend of the dead boys, said during Operation Middleton, hundreds of paedophiles got off and thousands of victims had their cases dismissed. SOSA has evidence to show the failure to follow up leads was a deliberate strategy to protect fellow police officers who were in the clan. It's an archaic system, an old boys club, whose existence discriminates against women. It has increasingly been used to protect wrongdoers and encourages them to commit crimes, knowing them have the protection of senior Masons. Fucking paedophiles. It comes after a long-running investigation. We read that one.
Bear with me.
Mr. Stevenson said he would be sharing it with MPs and relevant organisations. SOSA's work led to the independent inquiry into child sexual abuse that found hundreds of children in Lambeth's care were subjected to prolonged sexual, racial and physical abuse. The inquiry, which SOSA refused to participate in, found Hosgood had waved the Masonic handbook at the officers who arrested him. Mr. Stevenson said he suspects his friend, who cannot be named for legal reasons, was murdered by the house father who allegedly threatened to kill other children. He said, when I heard about his death, I made a promise that I would get justice. I always believed Hosgood was involved in his murder because he had attacked me. Compensation has been paid by Lambeth Council to 5 survivors who were found to have been abused by Hosgood. Among them was a man who at primary school age was repeatedly sexually assaulted by the paedophile over a 2-year period. The survivor said Hosgood threatened him with a knife after he caught him abusing a little girl. Other former Shirley Oaks residents said that Hosgood was part of a network of abusers that included swimming instructor William Hook and Fred Cummins, a deputy superintendent at the home. Lambeth has paid compensation to over 100 former residents for the abuse they suffered at the hands of the trio. You fucking nonsense. Shane Donnelly, 54, was in Shirley Oaks from April 1968 at a year old until it shut in 1983. He was subjected to sexual, physical and racial abuse over a 9-year period, including attacks by Hook, who was later jailed for 10 years. Waiving his right to anonymity, Shane said, I was abused by Hook, who was best friends with Hosgood. It all makes sense learning that Hosgood was a Freemason, and I believe that they were responsible for the death of the boy in Shirley Oaks. All of this was covered up by the police, Metropolitan Police, because of their Masonic connections. Not anymore, not when we expose your asses. You know all about us, Metropolitan Police. We expose your asses at Scotland Yard, and we'll keep exposing your fucking asses, because you're all fucking child abusing, women abusing, paedophiles.
Bear with me, everyone.
Former resident Tony Brown was also attacked by Hook and gave evidence at his trial. Tony said, what shocked me was that Hook had so much unchecked power for someone who wasn't even an official member of staff. I am not surprised he was connected to Hosgood and the other management of paedophiles. Former Shirley Oaks resident Bill Maloney's late brother Stephen first reported being sexually abused by Cummins in 1970, but he was never charged. Cummins, who sources say sexually abused 30 children, died in the early 1980s without facing fucking justice. Bill said, "I have always known the police covered up the abuse that happened to my brother, and learning that Freemasons and Catians were involved explains how they got away with their crimes." Sosa said they believe members of the Cationian Association, a Catholic Freemasons organisation, also interfered with investigations, including into notorious paedophile John Carroll. Ex-detective Clive Driscoll said he found evidence that Carroll was a member of the organisation before he was booted off the case in 1997. See how they fucking defend each other? And yeah, I do say it in a different way and you'll fucking hear it. Mr Driscoll said, "I always felt that there were senior officers that belonged to the same organisation as John Carroll. It makes sense that if a police officer belongs to any organisation, and there are many in the Metropolitan Police Service, that may cause victims and witnesses to worry about you, they declare it immediately as a potential conflict of interest. That seems to be common sense." Now this one is going to make you sick, and you need to listen to this, because this involves another child again by a Freemasonic paedophile, and this should be heard by the public, because most people don't hear these stories, and I fucking air them out and I expose them in a different way to other people in protests and shit. I speak it, scream it, shout it, and swear it into the public, so you fucking hear me, and I'm not going to back down from no government fucking official, police officer, or Freemasonic fucking paedophile. Freemason used nudist website to arrange rape of girl. Retired city worker Graham Turpin made the 2-hour journey from his home in Essex, where he lives on a boat, to Wiltshire on June the 2nd after chatting with the girl's mother on nudism enthusiasts website True Nudists. Swindon Crown Court heard the 67-year-old grandfather had brought 22 condoms, Haribo sweets and lubricant to the meeting, as well as a camcorder with which to film the rape of this young child. But the woman with whom he had been chatting online was not the mother of Chloe, but an Avon and Somerset police officer. Upon being arrested by police in Swindon, Turpin said, "I was only following her, the mother's orders," jailing him for 4 years and 8 months, which is not fucking enough. Judge Jason Taylor QC told Turpin, "Your entire interest and purpose was the sexual abuse and rape of a 10-year-old child, and I have no doubt that had she existed, you would have carried out your degenerate plan." Oh shit. Bear with me. Prosecutor Mark Ashley said the Essex man had met the undercover officer in February 2020 on social media site True Nudists. The officer stuck up a conversation with Turpin, who has had an almost lifelong interest in naturism. He said he did not have the usual hang-ups the others had, as long as no one gets hurt. So a 10-year-old child, a little girl, if no one gets hurt, he had a camcorder, fucking condoms, and he was going to rape and abuse this young child. You might not want to fucking hear it, but you need to! Because this whole fucking system is run by a paedophile ring, by child abusing and women and raping fucking men. All men. There's no women on here. Using an alias, she claims she had been abused by her father as a child. Her father had also sexually abused her own daughter, a 10-year-old girl called Chloe. Turpin and the woman spoke about arranging to meet so he could abuse the child. In one message he asked, "Do you think she is ready, or is she still too early?" Now, if you're a fucking man and a protector, or a father or a grandfather, you would be fucking sick with what I'm saying, and you should be fucking angry that children are being abused. Turpin and the woman spoke about arranging to meet so he could abuse the child. In one message he said, "Do you think she's ready?" He sent pictures and videos showing him performing a sex act on himself, behaviour described by Judge Taylor as classic grooming. He asked the mother to molest the girl. Are you angry, anyone? Are you pissed with the country that you live in, that's run by all of the fucking nonsense of paedophiles in Parliament, Westminster, Metropolitan Police, the Freemason lodges, the councillors, the court judges, every one of them involved in it, social workers? They arranged to meet somewhere in public in Swindon on June the 2nd, before going to a private house so he could molest the child and film the abuse. Defending Gareth James said his client was a retired City of London worker who had served as a charity steward at his Freemasons Lodge, raising a substantial amount of cash for charity. Turpin, who spent more than 4 decades working in the city, had also raised money for St Clair's Hospice in Essex after the death of his wife. And you see where this is going? They tell you all these Freemasons are charitable fundraising given men, but they're raping and abusing women and children. He acknowledged it was extremely concerning that his client had travelled a considerable distance to meet the child, but said there was a certain amount of encouragement from the undercover officer. The lawyer suggested she may have brought thoughts into the conversation which the defendant may not have had on his own, but he conceded the fact he responded in the way that he did is very concerning.
There we go. Bear with me, everyone. I'm getting confused here now.
Turpin of Quendon, Essex, pleaded guilty at the Magistrates' Court in June to arranging the commission of a child sex offence. Judge Taylor ordered he abide by a sexual harm prevention order for the rest of his life and register as a sex offender indefinitely. He said the planning that had gone into meeting with Chloe doesn't get much worse. This wasn't merely fantasy. You came equipped with 2 vibrators, lubricant, 22 condoms, massage oil, a camera, a tripod, a laptop, cash and sweets that you believe this 10-year-old girl liked. If you're not concerned by that public, you want to fucking shake your heads in shame. Because a lot of children are being abused and it's going unchecked and unnoticed. But you trust in your police force and you trust in your government and you think they're going to fucking defend you and save you and protect you, and it ain't fucking happening, is it? Because none of you have found the balls, masculines, to get up and protect women and children. Because for centuries along, men have become emasculated and don't want to speak up and use their voices. Because they're afraid to say what they mean. Because they're afraid to stand up and be a fucking man. That's why women are having to defend themselves. That's why the pink ladies, my good friends here, are standing up for the women. Because you men don't know how to stand up and protect the women and the children. So it takes a woman, a strong, brave, courageous woman like these women behind us, and here myself, and these 2 guys defending these women, to speak the truth. Because you're afraid to do so.
Bear with me. Oh dear. Just grab hold of that, Mark, will you? All of that.
When former Birmingham police officer Raymond Ketland parked his car on North Wales Beach in 2005, a group of men walked by. One of the group saw a 66-year-old Ketland and walked over to him. At his trial, prosecution barrister Andrew Thomas said Ketland told police he recognised the man as a member of the Masonic lodge he belonged to. The Mason asked, "Do you want to have a bit of fun?" He pointed to a girl who was with the group. Ketland decided to join in the fun. The group 6 was organised by Fred Lawler from Abigail. He had gained control of the young girl when she was just only 13 years of age. She was 14 when police rescued her. She told them that Lawler instructed her to have sex with 50 men. North Wales Police began investigating after a member of the public saw activity and reported it. Police launched Operation Furley and began to carry out surveillance on beaches between Willamra and Ryle. On one occasion, officers saw Lola with the young girl. They considered that she wasn't dressed appropriately. He responded by writing to the Chief Constable complaining of harassment. Eventually, police raided Lola's flat and discovered videos of the girl having sex with scores of men. A young girl being forced into sex with a group of men. As well as having sex with the girl himself, Lola filmed encounters with other men, sometimes using a hidden camera. When the videos were examined, police found 17 men who could be identified. One of these was retired Midlands detective Raymond Ketland, a detective. He was charged with 2 counts of having sex with a child, taking indecent image and facilitating a child sex offence. He was gone for 2.5 years. Ketland refused to name the Freemason who had invited him to join in the abuse. A bishop from Liberal Catholic Church, Gerard Crane, appeared as a character witness for Ketland.
Freedom of expression, yeah.
100%, brother. Thank you, bro.
The Liberal Catholic Church is not connected to the Church of Rome. Bishop Crane said he'd known Ketland for several years. I don't know why he did what he did, Bishop Crane told a reporter. He confessed to me and told me it was a moment of madness. He asked for forgiveness. We have prayed together for the unfortunate girl. He is full of remorse and is distressed for any hurt he has caused, really. You're fucking distressed, you little cunt. In December 2009, Rebecca Television asked Bishop Crane if he was a Freemason like Ketland. Bishop Crane said, I have never denied my membership of Freemasonry, but it is a personal matter that is no concern of anybody else. Well, it's a concern of ours, and we will expose your fucking arses. I joined many years before I came to live in North Wales, and I am not a member of any Masonic craft lodge in the province of North Wales. Nor have I ever been a member of the same craft lodge as Mr. Raymond Ketland. I met him socially some 7 years ago and regard him as a friend. As such, I was able to accede to his request to appear as a character witness at his trial and also to minister to him as a priest. At the time of the trial, when I heard about the missing child abuser, I implored Mr. Ketland to reveal that person's name to the authorities if he knew who it was. I repeatedly begged him to accede to my request if he had any information, but for whatever reason, he would never do so. In consequence, I never knew and still do not know the identity of the man in question. I did telephone the Provincial Secretary and asked him to investigate the allegation that one of his officers was the missing child abuser, but I was never informed as to the outcome of any such investigation which might subsequently have taken place. The mercy of the paedophile ring is fortunate. She had been manipulated by a violent woman-hater. If he had not been caught, she might have lost her life. For Fred Lawler has a lawless past. In 1982, he was convicted of actual bodily harm after he repeatedly punched his then-girlfriend and then jumped on her stomach. She was 7 months pregnant! You fucking rotter! 5 years later, he attacked another girlfriend. He first tried to electrocute her by putting the flex from electric fire into her bath. And when that failed, he picked up a knife and stabbed her repeatedly. A fucking Freemason paedophile! She needed 5 operations to repair the damage and had to use a colostomy bag for 5 months due to the laceration on her bowel and lost her baby. One last little story and I'm going to give it a rest, because the problem with this fucking country is everyone's too bone-eyed, all fucking silent, ignorant, arrogant to the real crimes that are being committed by your said system and government, and you walk away, you snigger, you laugh, you think it's hilarious that these abuse claims against these fucking said paedophiles in these Freemasonic lodges, in Parliament, Westminster, and the police forces, abusing women and children. You think this is fucking funny. You walk away and you don't understand why we stand here, why we say what we say. And you should all be fucking concerned about this after the 5 years of shit you've all lived through, and many years before that as well, but you still believe in the government. You're still too afraid to speak up, but I'm not fucking afraid when I have my little daughter that's going to grow up in a world full of these fucking nonsense that are abusing women and children. Because she's going to grow into adulthood, into a young woman. And you know what? For as long as I have left on this earth, I will protect her with my life. And any man touches a hair on her head, his jaw will be knocked down his throat, and his life won't be worth living. Masons link. 3 of the 5 Met cops arrested on suspicion of covering up a sex assault were billed as Freemasons. A source claimed Masonic links are being investigated as part of an inquiry to see if it had any bearing on the case. 3 of the 5 Met cops arrested on suspicion of covering up sex assault are Freemasons, the Sun can reveal. Masonic links between a detective sergeant accused of molesting a female colleague and 2 other cops alleged to have suppressed the case are being probed. The female PC had made a complaint about the Christmas party incident and later demanded to know why no action had been taken against the officer she alleges attacked her. It is understood her case was later dismissed altogether by local professional standards unit. One source said there is no evidence that their Masonic links had anything to do with what is said to have happened. But the fact that 3 of the 5 officers are Freemasons could arguably give rise to a perception that favours were being done. The Masonic links are being investigated as part of the inquiry to see if it had any bearing on the case. Now I'm fucking finished with what I said on that bit of paperwork, because I say it better with my own words, but that's viable. No, they're not in here, bro, but they'll hear us loud and clear, don't worry, bro. They'll hear us loud and clear. Sorry? Oh no, we'll be back, yeah. We just make sure that they can hear us, all go on social media, the police are fucking threatened by us. And if you notice one thing, we can stand out here with no comment from police officers. They don't turn up anymore because they're frightened, because we have a lot of shit on their names and the exposing the crimes that they've committed against women and children, and they're afraid of us, they're frightened of us. When we went to Scotland Yard a few weeks ago, they didn't arrest us because we had over 1,000 Metropolitan Police officers done on rape charges and abuse of women.